What's up, everyone? Today we have a Coleman PowerMate 10 horsepower Tecumseh generator. Looks like it's just the same as, well, almost the same as the one I just previously got done, which is actually right over there. I figured just time to start working on the generators. Generators are one of those things that just, it's rough. They're heavy. Anything to do with the engine takes a long time, but when you're done, the reward is a lot better, usually, generally, sometimes. Okay, not all the time, but a lot. But, yeah, I need to make some room, and these are sitting here. I only need one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix both and see which one I like better and sell the other one. I'm really liking the Briggs, except for that other problem. Watch the video, you'll understand what I was talking about. But this looks pretty decent. Doesn't look horrible in here at all. I mean, it's a little dirty. It's been sitting in my garage for a while, so yeah. But other than that, it looks pretty good. The story behind this one is Miss P&W and I think her mom were walking or driving or something, and they saw a big free sign, so they saw this was there. So they decided to give me a call, drove down there, got it, and it's here. That was a few years ago. I been putting it off too long, so here we are. Now, when I got it, I noticed two things. One, the oil was a little low. I put a little extra oil in there and, you know, put it to the appropriate level. It did look new, but it looked low. And I'm trying to see if it has a low oil cutoff anywhere. Nothing that's standing really, well, nothing's standing out to me right now. Could just be on the inside though. What's this? Oh yeah. Oh, you can't see that, can you? I think this might be a little oil cutoff sensor. Anyway. So I put a little in there, and then next thing I know, I had to leave for whatever reason. Next day, I pulled on it, nothing happened, so then I drained all the gas out, and here we are. I put a little bit of gas in here right now, just to see if it will even run. I double checked the oil. Now, when I tested it, I wasn't exactly thinking. I was testing it on my driveway. You know, my driveway does have a slope, and if I remember correctly, after seeing this wire, it might have been sloped where that side was down or up. So maybe the oil sensor was still not being tripped. When you run these, you don't want to run them on an angle. It will give you a false sensor reading. So I say let us give it a pull and see what happens. What do you say? And if not, we'll get in the carb and do the spark and all that. I put a dash more fuel in there. There's a fuel filter. Can't really see. I try to take the camera, but the lighting, it's horrible, and you know, enclosed plastic tanks. But it wasn't quite touching the filter. On the bottom of this, not all of the filters, there's like these ridges, and the filter that goes to the fuel line is on the top part of the ridge. The lower sections are meant to collect debris, water. So if you have a little bit of fuel in there, you'll never completely drain it unless you like tip it over, take the tank off, and dry it out and everything. So I want to make sure I have enough fuel to go through the filter, which I do. Let's give it a pull. This is a lot harder to pull than the other one. Let me check to see if the fuel is even on. Yeah. You'd be the one to check that first, I know, but moving forward, let's let the bowl fill up a little bit. It's the simple things that get you. Well, it runs. Who'd have guessed? We don't have to do anything with the carb. It is running very slow though. 43 hertz, it's running maybe 60% of what it should be. So, let me take a quick look at something and see if we can adjust this a little bit for us. So if you look right here, where it looks like that screw that holds the valve cover plate, or yeah, the plate, that's actually an adjustment screw for a spring to put tension on the governor arm. It looks like there's quite a bit of adjustment that could be done. Something weird though, it's this carburetor. Usually it's set to full throttle, which is right there. Its standard position right now is not full throttle. So I'm thinking maybe it was supposed to be on one of the other holes. This definitely seems a little bit newer. I mean, yeah. So I think I'm going to take it off. We'll look at the filter and everything and we'll see if it's okay. And then we might just take a look at the carb anyway and see if it's, I mean, it ran, but maybe it's a little nasty in there. We might as well do it right the first time, right? And let's see. Yeah. So let's see, the fuel filter is the right one, so that's good. Yeah, so I think I'll just go ahead and do that and see what we get. I question if this is the right one. Oh, spider. Could be. I don't know. No friends. Filter actually looks really good. Makes me even more suspicious this might be an aftermarket carb. So those are Phillips with no dots. I think I neglected to put the choke all the way off, but that shouldn't give us that much of a difference. It wasn't chugging or anything. It's green. Yeah, it's probably good if we're doing this. Turn off the fuel and we'll take off the carb. Thought this would be a lot harder. The smaller Tecumsehs, like the 6-horse and everything, they're not the easiest. Well, the horizontal shafts aren't too bad, I should say. I need to take a screwdriver. Or not. Just gonna take this off and go to the carb station. So it did run, but I mean, judging by that, it's probably a miracle it did. And the fact that this is not a half-inch tells me that it is a aftermarket carb. Let that drain a little bit, getting it all over my hands. This is new fuel too. Must have been really bad in there. No. No. What? Okay. 13 millimeter it is. Oh wow. That's on there. I think I might need a vise for this one. Fine. It's weird, considering that was new fuel I put in there. Could have just been a whole bunch of nasty in the bottom of it though. Everything seems fine. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to wipe it off. I don't think I'm going to put in an ultrasonic cleaner. Put it back together, dry it off, blow through the jets and everything, and then we'll put it back on the other way. Okay, got it all done. As you can tell now it's full throttle. I put it one more hole over. And everything's normal. Blew everything out, cleaned out the exterior. You know what, like with a rag. Probably take my air compressor, boil on it a little bit more, but it's fine. I think what was happening is there was just a little bit of fuel in the bottom of the bowl, and when I introduced enough, it was enough to suck it through. That's why it was so green. Not really sure, but let's put you up, and we'll put this, we'll give it a few pulls, and we'll see what happens. The genius is at work. In order to tighten that, excuse me, the nut to kind of put more tension on the spring, you have to basically go through the throttle linkage. So it's going to be a turn off, turn on type thing, I think. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, that's a little low. I'm going to turn it in a few turns and see if we can get a little higher. It did pull on the, or starting the first pull, so that's good. I do like the fact that it's on full throttle right now. I think now we are just dealing with the improper settings. So I'm going to put it in a couple more turns and we'll continue on from there. That was insanely loose. I don't even think it was on all the way. It looked like it was, but I don't know. Let's try it again. I probably turned it in like 3 or 4 full revolutions of the nut. So try no choke. Wishful thinking. Turn it in maybe 2 more. You can turn it in with the motor running, but you're just rubbing against the linkage, and I don't really want to accidentally push it the wrong way and then over rev it, and you can cause some damage to the actual generator head. So as annoying as it is, I'm just gonna turn it off and on, so bear with me. Getting a lot closer. I think maybe 2 more. That should be good. Let's do that. It is a lock nut too, so it shouldn't come out. The actual plastic or rubber interior piece looks to be pretty good. I had to get a deep socket to continue on. It was pushing through all the way. Okay, let's try this again. Now we're too much. Odd. Definitely having a problem. I noticed that. I noticed the line was wet. Not from the bowl though, but the line. I also want to check this filter. Maybe it's just so full of just nonsense. There we go. I expected to be fuel in the line, but I didn't think there was going to be that much. I already drained it. Maybe it was the filter this entire time. At least that's the hope. That's fuel line. Doesn't actually feel too bad though. I think I'm gonna replace the fuel line and the filter. Bring you back. Okay, put everything back together. Let's give it a try. I also lowered the throttle a little bit. And the fuel's been on for about 5 minutes or so. I kind of went off and did a couple things, so it doesn't appear to be leaking, but it wasn't leaking before either until we turned it on. So, I think what we have going on here is a lean carb or poor condition engine. I don't think so. It's pretty hard to pull over. So, I think I'm going to drill out the jets. Luckily, this jet is right here. Technically, it's the idle jet, but as we found out with the others, it will affect it. And I want to say the idle jet on every carb has been significantly undersized. So I'm going to see what size we have here. I have this one. This one I think might be an original carb. I'm going to take out both jets, clean them pretty good, and then put them in that carb. We'll see if that helps, because there's definitely something wrong here. I don't know how well you can see this, but I was checking the plug. It is a good plug. It's a so we can zoom in a little bit for you. Come on. Okay, might just have to take my word for it. But I just took the boot off. I didn't do anything. It's loose. It's not even untight. That could be part of our problem. Why it's bogging so much. So I'm going to take that out, take a look at it. It's really hot right now, so I'm going to let it cool first. The condition of a spark plug can definitely tell you a lot, and you can tell it's been leaking. It's black right there. So all that work we did to kind of figure out the tune and the RPM is just probably null and void now, but that gap is, it doesn't quite look like it's 30 thousandths. Could be. I don't really, I mean, let's see, this is an RJ19LM, so it's a pretty good plug, but it's definitely been used, so I say, considering I'm just going to put a new plug in, I might just clean it and double check it. I don't know, I'll double think about it. Well, I didn't adjust anything, just put the plug back in, put a new auto light plug. It's basically the same as the RJ19LM, but I just don't have any more champions in my local area, so auto light it is. Yeah, let's try it. Tighten it up a little bit. turn it on and see what it says now. I'm just going to put this on the floor. So, I think what we have a case of is maybe a worn-ish engine. It could be the fact that it maybe needs a valve adjustment. So I'm gonna kind of take a look and see if that could possibly be causing our problem. So let's just take a look at that next. You probably don't need to take off the muffler or the intake, but just for easy viewing for everyone here, I'm just going to take it off. I decided to take the tank off too. Let me let everyone in on a small engine repair secret. If you don't do it, you're going to have to later, so you might as well just do it now, and then eventually you'll find out that you don't actually have to do that. So whatever you did to make it easier for yourself later, it was completely useless, but that can bite you. Anyway, so exhaust, intake. I took the plug out. A lot of times these are like 6,000ths, at least for the intake. And you could do this in top dead center, you could just do it where one is fully extended. That's either way is fine. That's 6,000ths, and there's no problem. Let's see. Let's try 8. 8 seems like it's probably pushing it. Well, there's no issue there. The problem with flatheads, it's really easy to fix a gap that's not enough. But if it's too big, you can't really add to it. I mean, potentially you could weld on it and grind it, but that's going down a territory of work that doesn't seem like it's a good idea. Usually on these, if there's a problem, it's the exhaust side, because that sees such a drastic change of temperature. That's 8,000ths, and it's also not even tight. I'm gonna look up to see what's supposed to be. Okay, so I don't have a real good compression leak down tester, excuse me. But the valves, according to the internet, are in spec. This is a model HM100. The intake is at 0.008, excuse me, 0.08, and the exhaust, I think, is like 0.21, and that's in spec. So I have a hose connected to the cylinder. Put some compressed air in there and see if it's a lot of pressure coming out here. This is the crankcase vent, or if there's a lot coming out of the intake or the exhaust. I don't know if you can hear that, but I think that exhaust valve is not sealing correctly. I can't really express to you how much I didn't want to have to do this. I do not have a head gasket for this. I just need a little bit more. There we go. Tecumsehs like to have different sizes of head bolts, so I take them off in order. Whew, it smells like retirement home in here. This is gonna have to come off too. And of course it's not the same size. It is the head gasket that's giving us problem. Now what? So, let's see here. first. That's a decent amount of slop, I noticed. Yeah. It's not supposed to do that. Bore is very nice though. Well, that's not good. Let me see if I can find any parts for this. So it's a couple hours later. I decided that I went online, looked at the diagram for this engine. The rings weren't actually too bad. It's I think it was like $26 free shipping. A new head gasket that was $7 free shipping, and because I'm cracking, well, will have to crack the case, a new gasket there. The valves I have no issue with, like, even though the exhaust was a little bit leaky, that's something that's easily fixable. I'm not too worried about that at all. I think my main concern is the piston. Now, I could just lap the valves, put it back together, put a little copper silicone, call it good, but I don't really want to do that because it's just kind of shady. Like, so I'm gonna call here. So this is something I want to go over though. If your piston rings are not worn out, when you press on the piston, you shouldn't really feel all that much play or movement. There'll be some, don't get me wrong. Like, it's completely normal to have a little bit. But this is rocking back and forth. These rings are shot. The bore is good. I see absolutely zero scratches. I don't suspect the piston's gonna be bad. You know, I mean, it's not running without oil, so the piston's probably fairly decent. It might have some wear in it, don't get me wrong, but the piston itself, I'm sure, is probably okay. The valves, the intake is fine. The exhaust is actually pretty good, considering it was on the lower end of the ranges. So if I were to lap it and, you know, cause a better seal, I could easily grind the end however many thousandths I need to and just, you know, put it back into spec. So at this point, I think I'm gonna call it a day. This is gonna be part one. I'm sure I was thinking about making a whole video about this thing, but you know, it's gonna be too long. It's well over an hour at that point, and that's just too long. So this is gonna be part one. This is gonna be the diagnosis of it. The diagnosis is that the carb is fine. The jets we pulled out, the other carburetor seems to be perfect. The reason why we're having such fluctuation, I'm sure, is probably because of this. We ran across a whole lot of weird, just random stuff. Plugged filter, loose spark plug. I don't know how that works, but okay. And all that adds up. But at the end of the day, even if you were to fix that, you're still gonna have a worn engine. I wouldn't be surprised, because we went from like 61 hertz down to like 50, 51. I can't quite remember. It was a significant drop. If I were to not put new rings in this, I'm sure we could probably get it down to like 54, 53, maybe 55 on a good day if we're lucky. But that's just not acceptable. It was an 1800 watt load. This is a 5000 watt generator. It should be able to handle double that easily, and it would be too far out of acceptable range. So this is the only way we're going to do it. I'm not happy about it. So the next video is going to be me splitting the case, taking off the generator head, cleaning everything up, honing, all that. So keep an eye out for the next one. That'll be part 2. So this is a diagnosis. The diagnosis is that it's worn. Shocker, I know. The valves need to be lapped. The piston rings need to be replaced. Cylinder needs to be honed, and just kind of general rebuild. New gaskets. Everything else seems to be fine. So it was really kind of odd that the leak down-ish test that we did, even though it wasn't a true leak down, didn't quite show that. But when I did put my finger over this hole, it did have a fairly decent amount of air pressure build up in there. So like I said, it's a variety of things, but we're just going to fix them all. This is a good generator. The block is good. I'm sure the pistons are fine. Everything is good except for a few disposable items. So if you like what you see, put a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one. Definitely watch part 2. This is the first time I've ever done a part 2, so new one for me. And definitely subscribe. I'll be posting a few more videos, actually probably a lot more videos, so keep an eye out for those. We'll be going through a whole bunch of work with this engine, I'm sure. I'm not a generator person, but I know how to fix them as long as it's not a power problem. That I'm not too great on, but this generates power, so we dodged that bullet. Anyway, I'm rambling. Have a good night. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.